And so then he asks again in verse 16. Jesus says, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered again, yes, Lord, I love you. Okay, great. Then take care of my sheep. A third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Now Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him a third time, do you love me? And he said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. I think Jesus knew what he was doing. He denied him 3 times. And so now he says, do you love me? Do you love me? Till the third time, just like when the third denial time, he adamantly denies that he knows Jesus. This time he says, you are God. You know if I was lying to you. Right? He is making his case so known. And Jesus knew, but I think he was doing it not so much for Jesus' benefit, but for Peter's benefit. You see, what he's doing at this process is he is restoring Peter. And I'm sure some here that we've felt like that there's times you felt like, man, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've done. I'll sit here quietly. I'm not worthy of anything. And we just kind of get this thought in our head, and we remember all these awful things. And Jesus knew what Peter did. He called it out before he did it. And what was his response? Do you love me? Yeah. Let's get on mission. Do you love me? You know I do. All right. Let's get to work. He isn't hashing the past. He's not sending them through, this major penance, or this or that. It was simply just, do you love me? Then let's get to work. Feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. See, Jesus is the one, and notice too how he's not calling him Peter here. Simon, son of John, Simon, son of John. When Jesus first met him, he was Simon, son of John. And he says, I'm changing your name to Peter, which means rock. You're going to help build my church. And I'm sure he did not feel like a rock at that moment because he had failed. He had recoiled when he was time to be strong and to stand up. Yes, I'm with Jesus. No. He got fearful. He ran away. So here he's calling him again, calling him back. Let's get going. And so then Jesus says, after the third time, he says, feed my sheep again, get on mission. And then he prophesies to him. He says, now very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. Now when you are old, you will stretch out your hands. Someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. And then John explains what this is because he isn't writing this in real time. He wrote this years and years after. He said, Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Now, what we can learn through history is that Peter was crucified when he was older. And he considered it almost an honor to die that kind of death that he didn't even consider himself worthy of being crucified in the same manner that Jesus did. And so he asked them, please, if you're going to crucify me, then crucify me upside down because I am not worthy to be crucified like Jesus. And so history tells us he was then crucified upside down. Again, that's a little bit more bold than the guy who cowered away and said, I didn't know him. And so he's kind of speaking to Peter about this. Now, something there's two big things learned from this. The first is obviously that, when you are we all go through stuff. We all go through ups and downs. Some of us, maybe we've never really had faith and we just feel like we're struggling and how worthy are we to come in? I don't even know. Well, I just want you to know Jesus' response is, do you love me? That's as simple as the answer is. Some here have been Christians for a while and maybe you were doing well and you messed up somewhere along the way and you just kind of recoiled and shied back again, kind of another feeling of unworthy. And again, his answer is just, do you love me? You see, the heart of Jesus is to restore. The heart of Jesus is to forgive. The heart of Jesus is simply to want to know, do you love me? Will you follow me? And if the answer is yes, then great, let's go. He doesn't hold things over your head. He's not sitting there, if you ever just feel this guilt, remember what you did. That is not Jesus. He quite simply just wants to know, do you love me? Will you follow me? That's his heart. He's got that shepherd heart of leaving the 99 to find the one lost one, to take care of them. The second thing we see from this is he really wants us to follow him, to get on mission. He's bringing Peter in and saying, do you love me? Do you love me? All this forgotten? Absolutely, I love you. Great, let's get to work. Do you love me? Yeah, great, let's get to work. Again, a part of the Christian faith, I think, we sometimes forget to get in and to do the work. Sometimes we don't know what it is. Sometimes we don't think we're worthy, or we can't be good at anything, or I don't know what I can do. If you want to know what the work is, it's quite simply when we follow Jesus, it says, whoever loves me and obeys my commands. So what are the commands of Jesus? Well, he said he summed them up. One big one is to love God and to love other people. And this is what he's telling to Peter here, is come in and help take care of my sheep. So as an encouragement, there's a lot of times it's easy to kind of get into the loving God. Sometimes it's very easy to, we think of being the sheep, and we want to be fat little sheep, to be taken care of and everything to be good and great, and to be led to the green pastures and beside the still waters. We want all of those things. But we just think about me. And Jesus is like, it's great, I love you, but follow me. Let's get to work. We are called to love this world. Everybody here has some kind of ability, has some kind of skill, has some kind of talent, has some kind of gifting, even if you don't believe it, to love other people, to help those who are in need. Some of you might have ideas and thoughts of some kind of putting together some kind of ministry, and we could do such and such. And you say, no, I think I never could do that. I could never do that. And you shy away from it. Some of you just really do consider yourself unworthy, so you shy away, think, well, I couldn't possibly help in any way. So what's the qualification to get involved and start helping? Do you love Jesus? Yeah, all right, let's get to work. Some of you here who maybe you used to be really involved, used to do a bunch of stuff. Now you're later in your life, you're thinking, that was the past, now I'm done from that. This is a job that we do not retire from, people. Okay? We are all called to love and to help out. Well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. Well, great. You can come and chat with me. We can find all kinds of things to do. The truth of it is, the church really got this. Every pastor in this city, their number one problem should be like, oh my goodness, so much of my day is built trying to find stuff for people to do because I'm bugged constantly with people. Constantly, Pastor, how can I help out? What can I do? What do you need, Pastor? I want to get involved in this. I want to do something. Sadly, when we get together, most of us are like, so how do you get people to get involved? How do you help convince it? We come up with programs, we try to do these clever things, and it's great. But sometimes when I'm doing that, I just think like, it's all good. I want to do whatever I can to help people get involved. But it's like, how do we just get to this point where we understand this is what we're called to do? This is what the church is called to do. Get in. Okay, now what do I do? Let's get involved. When we think, well, I have to go through a lengthy process, and I haven't gone to seminary, so I don't know what I can do, and this and that. It's like, well, listen, okay, maybe you're not called to preach, but the Bible's full of it. Everyone's called to do different things. Are you nice to people? Do people like you? Yeah, actually, I got a lot of friends. You probably got a gift of hospitality. How do we use that for the Lord? Some of you are great at managing and organizing things. Great. That's the number one thing we pastors can never find anyone to help with. Usually people, I'll do something, just don't put me in charge of anything, Pastor. Responsibility is a 4-letter word for a lot of people, and they shy away, so we have to do what we can. That's great, but some of you have that gifting. Use it. And I'm not saying it because I think, because it'll help me and it'll do this. It helps you. You guys want to see God move in your life. You want to see everything he has for you. He's calling you, do you love me? Then let's get to work. Let's do something. What can you do? You all have lives, you all have jobs, and you're around certain people where you can help and get involved in such a way. Imagine actually changing your thinking into that. It's yes, Jesus loves you. He's showing right here how much he loves, right? Showing how much he cares, how much he's going out of his way. And it's great because it even seems like he has a little bit of a sense of humor. Because you can just imagine him. He's on shore. He knows they don't know who he is. Hey, how's it going, guys? And I almost, when he said throw the net on the other side, I almost think it's like, I think he's joking with them. You know what I'm saying? You know how your buddies would joke, you haven't been catching any fish. Try, you're casting right-handed, try left-handed. You okay, what do you try? Left-handed catch up. What? So I think it's that kind of joke. And he's joking because he cares. These are his buddies. And we know he loves for us. A few chapters before this, we see a prayer that he prays. He prays for us. He prays for you. He prays for me. He's like, those who do not even yet know me, Lord. And his prayer for them is that we would be one. He said, because then people will know. Then they'll know that they're mine. And so there's this idea of coming together, of helping each other. What can we do? How do we get involved? Right? And it's not just all, well, Pastor, what do you want? Like I said, some of you might have some amazing ideas, things I would not think of. I am but one brain. You are many. And to think of something, and we can figure out how do we do that, how do we come along that. It might be a thing, how do I support what you're doing, or what and some of it, you just need to go and do it. Some of it, you might just know, no, I know, there's people in my neighborhood, and they really need things, and I'm just going to go start helping them. I feel like I'm called to do it. You start, yes, that's what we're called to do. Just get in and start doing stuff. So that's my final encouragement of just, first off, remember that God loves you. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter how much you think you've messed up. You don't think you're worthy of doing something. He just says, no, it's okay. Do you love me? Yeah. Cool. And follow me. And the other thing is really start to think about that. I hope it just kind of sits in your brain. Not that you need to have the answer right now, but maybe think about that. Maybe pray about that throughout this week. Just be like, all right, Jesus, I don't know. Pastor Phil said it's probably something I'm supposed to do. I don't know what it is. I feel like there's nothing I got. I feel like I'm hanging on barely. I'm just glad I made it to Sunday. You can use me? Yeah. And in fact, watch how it will change you. When you start giving your time to God, you say, well, what do? I don't know. There are things to do. I don't necessarily want to do those things. Or what so-and-so's doing, that's really cool. I'd like to do that. Well, Peter kind of had a response like that, just really quickly. In verse 20, Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following him. Again, he's talking about John, saying, he saw me. And skipping ahead to verse 21, he says, then Peter saw him. He asked, well, Lord, what about him? You just told me I'm going to die this horrible death. Awesome. Great. Okay, I'm in. What about this guy? And Jesus answered, hey, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is it to you? You must follow me. You don't be concerned about your brother, your sister, what they're doing. This Jesus said, no, you. Look at me. Here, follow me. I've got something in store for you, but I'd like to do what they're doing. Cool. Don't worry about them. You. And then John goes to clear up any rumors. There was probably some rumors starting. It says, because of this, in verse 23, the rumor spread among the believers that this disciple would not die. But Jesus did not say that he would not die. He only said, hey, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is it to you? So likely rumors were going around. And then he says, this disciple who testifies of these things and who wrote them down, we know that his testimony is true. He's saying, everything I wrote down in here, I'm telling you the truth. And then he says this, he said, Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. Bit of hyperbole there from John, but he's making the point, man, dude, I'm telling you, the stuff I saw it. I can't even tell you all the stories. I'm just taking the highlights because I want you to understand who he is. I want you to understand the nature of who he is. And I want you to love him as I love him. I want you to believe in him as I believe in him. There's so many testimonies about this. I was actually chatting last night with a friend of mine. He's like, it's crazy. He said, we all know who Socrates is, right? And Aristotle. He's like, there's like 2 major manuscripts that even talk about those guys existing. And we have account after account after account. All the accounts of Jesus aren't even in the Bible. There's lots of other ones. There's so much that points to the testimony, of what he did. And he said, what's my response to this? He simply wants to know, do you love me? And if so, come and follow me. Amen.